Hey, my name's Chance, and this is a GitHub introduction. And so with GitHub, GitHub is a code, basically a repository, a Git repository hosting company. They host code, much like YouTube hosts videos or GoDaddy hosts websites. They still run on a server. You're just taking your code and putting it on their server so you can now share with other people. So they do really well with the Git functionality and being able to collaborate with teams and people. And so with Git and being relative to a project, let's create a project on GitHub. And you can edit the code on GitHub, but also you can edit it locally. So I've got a project on my local computer and I'm going to push it up. I'm also going to create a new project and show you how all of that works. And so, all right, we've got this Git repository. Let's do a new repository, and we're going to call this CSS crash course because it's just the course that we finished. And then I'm going to, I've got a check mark, that's available, and testing getting crash course on Git. All right, so really doing a GitHub intro. So we've got this repository. It's public. GitHub does public repositories for free. And if you're wanting a private repository for free, go to bitbucket.com by Atlassian. So going to create this now. We've got some options. Is this new or is this old? Is this already with an existing repository? And so one thing we can do is create a new repository on the command line. And we can echo out some text into a README file. We can git init, which sets this current directory as a repository, and then add the README. So the next thing to do is, if you already have a repository, in the last video I just created, we created a repository in this CSS crash course. And so if I do git status, I've got a repository. I'm ready to roll. So git remote is nothing. There's no remote set. So that's what this option down here is doing. So first I could add this remote path, and that is now added as origin. So that is the primary place we're going to be pushing code to. And then it's saying that we can now push this entire project up to the master branch on the origin remote location. And so I'm going to do that. It's going to push all the code up, and I can now refresh this project and see all of the code in that project. It's great. You can now share with everyone in the world about this. And so if someone wanted to favorite it, or if someone wanted to fork and make changes on it, they could. If I wanted to clone this again, let's say I want to take this project down to my computer, I can click the clone and download. I can hit the download button here and download the zip, but I'm just going to copy this location, and I'm going to go to we're going to go to a new folder. So I have another folder I put some projects in, very rarely, and it's going to be in home. I'm going to go to sites. Oh, wrong directory. Sites, and then I'm going to git clone, which I'm using the git command with a clone method where I want to clone this repository. I'm going to pull that one down from GitHub down to my local computer, and then now I'm going to cd into this new folder called CSS crash course. So I'm going to change directory into CSS crash course, ls. I've got that directory now twice on my computer, but you can see that I can take a project that is new and doesn't have a repository set up, and I can use this code that it showed earlier. So new repository, test, it's available, Git repository, and I can take this entire piece and now initiate the Git repository, just like we did in the last video, it adds a README. In this case, you could just take out the README lines and then do my first commit, and then have the origin be added as the location you created, and then you're ready to start pushing everything back up. So after every commit, you're going to be pushing up, not after everyone, but you can do a few commits and then push up to a repository. So let me show you what that looks like. We're going to open this project up in Sublime Text. I'm going to go to the header, or the index.html, and we're just going to fun with GitHub. All right, so I've made a change. You can see in my gutter, I've made 3 line changes here. So I'm going to do git status. I also have a alias for this, so it's easier to type, GS, and then that does git status for me. I can do git add, which is, or GA, which is git add dot, and that adds the file that I just edited, and then I can do git commit with a message of adds new content to homepage about GitHub fun. So a good commit, giving enough details to give context to what happened, instead of I did this thing in index.html. Like, you want to be specific. You want to at least being able to go back and say, I have an idea of what I did there, especially when you see a list of all the changes, and especially from a lot of team members. You might even specify the specific file you mentioned or you edited. So now I can do git status, and it says that your branch is ahead of origin master by 1 commit. And that means my origin remote location master branch is behind. And so I need to git push to my origin master. Now origin is by default. I don't even have to type in origin master. It already knows that. And so all I have to do is git push. It'll push my code up. I can go back to the browser, and then now I've got this. It wasn't this project, was it? Okay, so back repositories, switching to CSS Crash Course. Yeah, so in this repository, I just made a change a minute ago, and I can see that I've got a safe space for my code, because it's not only on my computer, but it's on another server in the cloud. But also I can come back and edit this. I can even go in and edit the HTML file here. I can click this pencil and edit here. So I could do H2, and I'm not able to have all the fancy items that I have in Sublime Text, which I really miss right now. But you can go in here and fun with GitHub editor. And so once I'm happy with that, I can say updates home page with GitHub editor. I can't get that right, can I? Editor home page. Okay, so I can add in a multi-line comment if I want. Otherwise, I'm just going to push it up to the master branch and we move forward. This is how you can take a local code and push it up, and you can also edit within GitHub. It's a great way to store your code and collaborate. Hope that helps. Adios.